And welcome back to another episode of All Politics is Local, a production of the Greater Blackstone Valley Democrats. To learn more about the Greater Blackstone Valley Democrats, please visit our website, www.gbvdems.org. We got a great show planned for you tonight. I'm here with Christine Crean, the Secretary of the Milford Democratic Town Committee. And it's nice to have Christine here. We're just going to talk about Massachusetts politics and a little bit of course, local politics and certainly get some Massachusetts politics in. We'll start tonight's discussion with one of our favorite organizations, that is Drinking Liberally. Christine, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Tell us about Drinking Liberally. What's it all about?
Well, it's less about drinking, more about talking politics and issues, and around a good brew or a glass of soda, if you will.
Sure, and you know, I haven't been drinking myself since February, so I do go to DL, but I have a club soda with a twist, and it's kind of nice to sit and talk politics with all my friends. So.
True. A lot of people assume drinking means an alcoholic beverage, and it's not about that at all. But to go back in history, Drinking Liberally started 2003, I think, in New York City. Kind of a pushback from all the conservative talk radio and media coverage. So it was a group of people that started this, and it kind of mushroomed since then. So they morphed from Drinking Liberally and decided to call it Living Liberally with different aspects. So they have Drinking Liberally and Reading Liberally and screening liberally. We've actually done a couple of screening liberalies, and we have a few more planned for somewhere down the road. Right. Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. So, and the whole focal point is progressive, liberal-minded people getting together, promoting democracy one pint at a time.
There you go. So, but it's still in all, it's a nonpartisan organization.
Right. Yeah. Right? We don't endorse candidates. We don't take a side on issues. Individually, people can, but as a group, we don't. So we try to keep it very broad, and anybody that would like to join the group, like to come by and meet with us or have a forum to talk, we certainly open that up.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the Milford chapter.
Well, we started 6 years ago, last September, and I believe it was you and I and a couple of other people.
Yep.
I had the idea from a friend who kind of introduced me to the whole concept, and then didn't get anything going. A few years later, I decided to kind of revise it a little bit, and we tried to find a place that we could meet, inexpensive, comfortable, not too noisy, and we came upon the old Fat Boys.
Yep, Fat Boy Bill's over on Central Street, right? The former Club 77.
Right. Oh my God, it's been a lot of former places, hasn't it?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
And we were there for a while, and that worked out well, and then unfortunately that closed, so we kind of had a scramble, and we were able to find, through you actually, you helped us look for Turtle Tavern right on Main Street in Milford.
Yep, right over there next to Town Hall.
That's right, that's right, right across from the fire station.
Yep.
You know, and Heidi, the owner, has been a wonderful host to us. They've been very gracious, give us our space. We even have Welcome Liberals on the blackboard for all the specials.
Sure, on the specials board. I've taken pictures of that a couple of times.
I know.
And now we meet on what date?
The second and fourth Wednesday of every month.
Okay.
It's consistent, rain or shine, except, well, Christmas will probably not have a regular meeting.
I was thinking I would be there Christmas Eve, or Christmas night, that is.
Well, then, you know, I'll send out the email and let people know, but it'll probably be whoever wants to come. I mean, it's not organized, we're not structured, you know, so it's kind of a free-flowing evening, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, the Turtle will be open at 4 p.m. on Christmas Day.
That's good to know.
Yeah, so if you want to
So if I want to escape my family,
if you want to escape,
see some friendly faces and talk politics. We know how difficult politics can be around the dinner table at family time, right?
Right.
Because not everybody's on the same page, and I don't know about you, but we've had some spirited discussions.
Yes,
with
those happen at my house too. So I can certainly see where spirited discussions take place. So we've had some candidates at Drinking Liberty lately
quite a few
too, right?
over the years. Yep, we had Oh my God, I'm blanking. We've had somebody who's running for Secretary of State one year.
Yeah.
We've had
Seti Warren came in
Seti
one
Warren's
time
come
when he
in.
was running for U.S. Senate. Right?
That's right. We've had, help me out,
Paul Hero.
Paul Hero,
who
he came.
he was running for Congress until Joe Kennedy got in the race.
That's right.
And then, so now Paul has gotten himself elected to
State representative down the
from
Attleboro
area,
Yep.
right? Yeah. He stays in touch. I'm on his mailing list.
Oh,
and
good.
so I
You should
see-
have him
I
come
see
visit
stuff.
us again.
I've asked him to. Yeah, he actually came on this show
really?
as well. He was on
Nice.
here when he was running, but then Joe Kennedy got in the race and kind of
Okay.
removed all the oxygen from that race. And
And
so-
Joe's been great, and I appreciate it, but I could see how, it's tough to kind of go off against someone a little more well-known and
Yep.
name recognition. Unfortunately, that
right. Name
means a lot.
recognition is everything there. We recently had a candidate for state senate on too, Sue Lynn. Her last name escapes me. I'm so
No,
sorry, Sue.
and I'm ashamed to say
Yeah.
she's running for that Attleboro. It's a weird, funky.
Yeah, it's like
district.
from
It
Franklin
covers-
out to Wayland, right?
Yeah. It's an unusual geographical area,
it's
but
got Franklin and Rentham. I think it's Scott Brown's old seat, actually.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay, she would cover Rentham.
Yeah.
So she came on, and I wasn't sure if she was going to show up, so I didn't have an opportunity to include her name in the email I send out,
Right.
which is always helpful. I mean, I like to hear from people, and then I can kind of give the group a heads up.
Sure, that someone's going to be there.
And
Maybe
people,
someone will
right,
make
who
a
don't
special
normally
effort.
come,
Right.
would
Yep.
want to at least meet and greet.
Sure.
I did have a candidate for governor.
Was it Dan Wolf or
No. No, he stepped out.
Yeah, he's stepped out.
Joe
Avalone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not him, but one of his people called.
Uh-huh.
So we were having a conversation, and so I mentioned drinking liberally, and I said, have him call. I mean, Republican, Democrat, or Independent.
Sure.
If they want to come on, we'll give them an opportunity to address the group.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
we'll see if he calls. More than happy to. Now that the races are starting to, the regular races.
Right.
I know Massachusetts has had a consistent election, pretty much somewhere in the state for the last couple of
For the
years.
last couple of years, yes. A lot of
Jeez.
special elections been going
I
on,
know.
et cetera. Now, if somebody wanted to join your mailing list so that they would know, be able to keep in touch and know what's going on, how would they go about doing that?
They could get on milforddrinkingliberally.org
Okay.
and just automatically subscribe.
Okay.
I've subscribed people myself too, if they,
Yeah.
but they can get on Living Liberally, and then they can click on the bottle icon that you see on the website.
Okay. Yep. The red, white, and blue
Right,
bottle that
right.
says "Drinking Liberally."
And then you get
yeah.
a map of the U.S. and then click on Massachusetts, and you'll look under Milford, Mass. You can get on any mailing list anywhere in the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
and get emails from
Sure.
that group.
Now, there's like 7 or 8 chapters in Massachusetts,
They
right?
say there's 8. I don't know how active all the 8 are.
Okay.
My understanding is one of them's kind of not really as active. I know they have one in Boston. And they used to have one in
Okay.
Cambridge.
Yeah, I think Kate Donahue up in the Westboro area, she's actually starting an official
Started
chapter.
one in Southborough, right?
Yeah, at Piccadilly Pub, or the former Piccadilly Pub.
former Piccadilly
It's-
Pub.
It's a new business in there now.
Yeah.
Owen O'Leary's maybe.
That's it.
Yeah.
Owen O'Leary's. And
Yeah.
they were doing it on the Friday. Is it every Friday or the first Friday of the month?
I'm not sure exactly which days of the week she's doing, but obviously if somebody went to livingliberally.org, they could certainly find out, right?
That's right. And
Yeah.
anybody can start a chapter in their town.
Sure.
They can
sure.
actually, again, go on the Living Liberally icon, and there's all information about how to start a chapter. And the people who are involved with that will walk you through it. Kind of give you a little overview on do's, don'ts, and they would set up the website for you.
Sure.
And that's how we got started.
Yep. Yep.
So-
So it's a great organization. And
A lot of fun, it is,
I'm
yeah.
really proud of the time that we've put into
Yeah.
it too. The 6 years that we've been
grown.
meeting. It's grown
I
tremendously.
have just under. I used to think I had about just under 200, but I think it's more like under 170 people on my distribution list.
Uh-huh.
So I'm hoping to have it grow, and we go anywhere from 15, 20 people a week.
Yep. Yep.
And people trickle in, they stay a little while, they trickle out, and we don't
Yep.
take attendance, and there's none of that. I
No.
think we have enough structure in our lives
No
where
marking people off present or
I
absent.
know,
right?
I know. And then once a year we try to have that birthday celebration, kind
Right.
of just little birthday / anniversary
Right.
in September.
I ran the trivia for the last
That's
one. That was
right.
a whole lot of fun. I really
Get some
enjoyed
prizes
that.
out,
Yep.
try to keep it light and
Yep.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, so Drinking Liberally is a great organization. It's a lot of fun. Second and fourth Wednesday every month, Turtle Tavern.
Anytime after 6:30.
Anytime after 6:30
And it goes
closing
until
time.
your
Yep.
mother calls you home for full lights out or whatever. You know?
Until curfew.
Whatever that may be for you.
So we talked a little bit about having candidates. Seti Warren obviously came to visit us, but then when Elizabeth Warren got in that race, that kind of dried up all the oxygen from the other candidates.
That's right.
But I'll tell you what, I am so pleased with Elizabeth Warren's representation that she's putting forward for not only for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, but just for the nation as a whole. Some of the stuff that she's doing.
Well, her policies affect everybody. It's not,
Right.
you know, she's not so narrow focused. But I tell you, she's not forgotten her roots.
Right.
She went in there saying she was going to be for the people. That was her whole drive. That was her whole philosophy of teaching, and she hasn't wavered from that at all.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
even in her voting record. It's amazing, and I'm really thrilled to finally see somebody that gets in there and stays the course.
Right, stays true to
Yep.
her convictions. I feel very gratified with the work that I did on her campaign to get her elected. I feel really, really good about it.
Yeah, you should.
I actually saw her this past weekend at Kate Donahue's house.
Oh,
Kate had her annual holiday
I
party.
know, I didn't make
Yeah.
that. I'm
Well,
so disappointed.
I have a picture of myself with her. I put on my Santa hat for
Oh, boy.
for the event, and so I got a picture taken, and I'm going to show that picture now on the show, so
Oh, geez.
everybody can get a look at.
You look just like Santa with that hat on, too.
I do, especially with the hat. Even without the hat, I look like Santa. Did you know there are 4 phases of a man's life according to Santa Claus?
Okay,
Okay, in phase 1, he believes in Santa Claus.
okay,
In phase 2, he does not believe in Santa Claus.
okay,
Okay, in phase 3, he is Santa Claus.
okay.
And in phase 4, he looks like Santa Claus. So
Oh, okay.
Clearly, I've made it to phase 4.
There you go. Is there any time frame when you accomplish these things?
I'm not sure if there's a
I don't know if
hard
you're
and
ahead
fast
of the
time frame. I think
game.
it's a matter of pigment in your beard.
Yeah, okay.
In my case, I went prematurely gray. I'm actually only 29 years old.
Oh,
you
I
see,
see.
So, yeah, but be that as it may. Well, I think I'm 29. I don't know. I stopped counting.
Well,
right
I
around
agree. I
then,
feel
so.
like I'm 29 too, in my mind. I just avoid mirrors and I'm all set.
So Elizabeth Warren, she's been tremendous, and her latest bill that she put forward, I got the email the other day from her, where she's going to put forth a bill to stop companies from dinging prospective employees based on
Their
credit
credit.
scores. I really like the bill. I think that that's the right way to go. So often, I mean, you know, the economy got tanked by irresponsible behavior of the big banks and on Wall Street.
Not
back
irresponsible
in
behavior of
2008.
people.
Yeah, irresponsible people. Yes.
Not,
yeah.
No, I mean, it was the banks, right?
Yeah. yeah.
So people get stuck,
Yeah,
and they might have late payment, their credit. And I'm wondering too, what the companies that are hiring people, what their measure is in terms of bad credit. You know,
Right.
that seems to be arbitrary.
Right. It would seem, I don't know if there's any real standards for it. You
Yeah.
know, it would seem that they can make up their own rules, I
Right.
guess, about you know what a bad credit score indicates to them.
So
Or,
let me understand this. So people get rated or be refused a job because they have bad credit, but they're trying to get a job so they get good credit so they can pay their bills.
right, so they can continue to pay their
So-
bills. Yeah, it's kind of a catch-22
Yeah.
or a chicken and egg
Okay.
kind of problem, and it's nice to see someone in Congress doing something about it. And you know, another progressive champion that we have in Congress is Ed Markey,
Mm-hmm.
who we just recently elected last June to Congress. He is immediately, as soon as Elizabeth filed that bill, he signed on as a
Beautiful,
co-sponsor. And
yeah.
so I'm very proud of the Massachusetts delegation. I think we have the best progressive delegation in
Well,
the
they're more
country.
for they're more for the rank and file,
Sure.
as opposed to the big business.
Sure, and 2% of the delegation in the Senate it comes from Massachusetts, so it's really it's heartening to see that we seem to have done the right thing. We've sent 2 good people there that are representing us well. So I'm very gratified with.
Well, hopefully that bill will get some legs then.
Yeah. Also, it remains to be seen what's going to happen in the House, right? You know,
I know.
the House right now being in Republican hands, they may not advance that bill at all. But still, it's nice to see it there. And
We'll
see
have to. Do you have the number of the bill?
I do not. I don't have that handy.
Probably look that up. It'd be interesting to see
Yeah.
who signs on, both Republican and Democrat.
Right. I'm sure it'll be on Thomas. Thomas must have it. It's thomas.loc.gov.
Okay.
We'll have a full description and co-sponsors.
So this is a new
et
bill
cetera.
she just filed, though, right?
Yes. Yeah. She just filed it a couple of days ago. So.
I think we should get. It'd be nice to see members, people, voters calling on this.
Sure.
Because
sure.
I think sometimes what I feel happens is we talk and a lot of ruminating about things and who should do what and things should change. And then you ask people, have you called your congressman? Have you called your senator
Right.
to ask them to support something or to let them know how you feel about a particular issue? And they're like, well, no. So I think that we have to do our due diligence too.
Right, and make sure that we call.
Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty, I think, of people-powered politics. That's kind of like, ever since the blogs have erupted on the national scene as a force in politics, it's kind of a people-powered revolution, more or less. And the way that I look at that is people-powered politics isn't a bunch of folks sitting around saying, someone should do something, someone should do something. Instead, it's people sitting around saying, hey, look what I did.
Yeah.
And when you
kind of
have
inspire
that
other people to do the same.
Exactly, to do more, to take a good idea and run with it.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I've done recently is I've created my own voter organizing software because I've been campaigning for so long with so many different campaigns. And I find that the software that they use is cumbersome at times and hard to use. It's difficult for volunteers to really learn. There's a big learning curve before you can begin to get some useful features out of it. Now, certainly I can see something like Sage Systems, Vote Builder, Voter Activation Network, those types of organizations. I can see, those types of softwares, I can see the value of them to a campaign. Certainly a campaign can use all the data that's in there for micro-targeting purposes and all that kind of good stuff. But by the same token, I feel like there has to be some usability. There's a usability issue there that ends up that we have people using too much paper and really not
duplication and
a
stuff.
lot of duplication and
so
stuff.
wasting time in it, the process.
Yeah, or waiting even. There's been so many campaigns where I would show up with a carload of volunteers and we're all ready to go out and knock on doors and we get to the campaign office and they say, oh, well, we're still assembling the lists and we're still printing and we're still doing this and we're still doing that. Why don't you guys go next door and have breakfast or have lunch or, so now we're wasting volunteer time and I hate to see that. That's where my software comes in. It's a web-based software with voter data in it and anyone, it's easy to use and anyone can use it and you can just start using it. You can use it on your smartphone, you can use it on your tablet, you can use it on your PC. We actually used it in the casino fight here in Milford, yet another local issue that is thankfully over, at least from my perspective. I know you were kind of on the fence.
I was more beige on, I just, my own personal, from where I sit, I felt as though that the arguments on either side were very extreme and a lot of doomsday stuff and a lot of maybe speaking on the potential that the casino would have had. So I kind of took a neutral course and my position was if it went in, we'll deal with it. If it doesn't, oh well. And,
sure. Well, that effort is over, but we used my software to good effect in that fight. And I was gratified that one of the things that we did was we projected what the turnout was going to be, and we modeled what the precincts would look like with a 56% turnout. We got a 57% turnout on election day, and our predictions were almost
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Did you have demographic information on the people that actually voted too?
Not so much. We had the voter database plus voting history.
Okay.
So anything.
I meant,
it's all
in terms
public
of
record.
age?
I'm sorry?
In terms of their age?
Yes, we had age, address, whatever's public record, all the stuff that's available at Town Hall.
So is your software able to break down that information?
Yes. Yeah,
you're able, how many in a certain age voted a certain way, kind of thing?
Well, no, you can't tell how people vote. But you can tell that they voted. That's all you can tell.
But not the individual names, just the percentage, say, in this age group. Are you able to break down?
Sure, I'm able to see by age group whether or not they voted.
So people like 50 and over, so you didn't know, you couldn't break it down, people 50 and older voted yes or no?
Right, no, there's no way to tell results.
Okay.
But all you can tell is that they voted.
Okay.
And so, that's another thing that I need to do now is I need to go to Town Hall and ask for the voting history file for our special election because I want to know who turned out for that election. We did have fantastic turnout. As far as turnout is concerned, we had the best turnout of any casino referendum statewide.
Well, there's a lot of advertisement leading up to it, all the arguments, all the discussions and stuff. So
right. There was a lot of stuff going on. It was a very, very big race here in Milford. Ed Thompson over at WMRC was comparing, what were some of the biggest events that have happened in Milford in the past 20 years, and it was certainly one of the biggest newsmakers, the casino battle. So that was it was a lot of fun. It was very gratifying. I enjoyed the campaign tremendously because I found myself working across the aisle. I have friends in town who fly a Gadsden flag from their garage. Okay, and that would never have happened were it not for my involvement in this campaign.
It's amazing, the common interest, common focal point that brings people together,
Exactly, finding common ground and finding common interest, and I think that it's gonna serve us well going forward.
So it speaks to the power of the many, and getting back to even democracy and the way it should be working.
Sure.
You're talking about people powered, and we have the power, we don't use it in terms of the rank and file,
right? And
relative to our elected officials.
This was true grassroots organizing. I mean, we broke the town up into 68 neighborhoods. There's already 8 precincts, and so the file comes to us with the 8 precincts already identified. We took those 8 precincts and broke them into logically similar neighborhoods, and so we had 68 neighborhoods. We recruited 68 volunteers. We produced walkbooks for them from the database. They went out and they talked to voters. They knocked on doors. They talked to as many voters as they could. If the voter wasn't home, they left a flyer behind, but they talked to their neighbors, and that created a buzz throughout the town. I can't tell you, of course, I was out knocking on doors. So I was one of the neighborhood people out knocking doors, and I can't tell you how many people thanked me.
No, you can tell me how many people thanked you.
Well, I can't because I didn't count them. But I tell you, a lot of people thanked me for my efforts. And on election day, we were out holding signs at the polls, and voters came up to us to say thank you for everything you did to make this issue to front and center like you did. So it was fun. It was a good campaign.
So now what are you going to do with all your free time?
Well, now I don't have to be in 2 places at once anymore. Remember our 6th anniversary of drinking liberally?
That's right.
I had to leave in the middle because I had a core meeting of the Casino for Milford. I'm sorry?
I cried on my pillow all night.
I came back in time to do the trivia.
Yes, you did. I appreciate that.
So there's lots of other things happening. 2014 is shaping up to be quite a year in Massachusetts politics. We have constitutional officers up for election: governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, treasurer. There's lots of things going on. In the governor's race, we have 5 candidates. We have
Democratic candidates.
5 Democratic candidates. We have Martha Coakley, Steve Grossman, Joe Avalone, Don Berwick, and Juliet Kayyem. I was lucky enough to have attended Kate's party. I ran into Attorney General Coakley there. Ran into Steve Grossman, who's currently our treasurer. Joe Avalone was there as well. Juliet Kayyem was leaving as I came in, and I missed Don Berwick. But all 5 of them did make that party.
Okay.
I missed Don Berwick, but I did talk with one of his staffers. Personally, myself, I haven't chosen who I want to support on the Democratic side of the aisle in the primary. I'm leaning myself towards Don Berwick for a couple of reasons. One, he was director of the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services in the first Obama administration, which prompted Glenn Beck to label him the most dangerous man in America. That really is a big feather in his cap.
And Glenn Beck knows, right? Because he's well-informed on things and has a rational, logical approach to. Okay.
So that really made my day when I found that out about Don Berwick. He's also got some great ideas. He's got some great ideas about how to manage healthcare and how to bring costs down in the state budget on healthcare. So I'm gratified to see that. He has also recently come out in favor of the repeal of the casino deal, which again is a topic
in
that's
Massachusetts,
near and dear to my heart. I'm also supporting the repeal of the casino deal efforts. We're uncertain at this point, even if it's going to get to the ballot or not. The case is in front of the Supreme Judicial Court to see if that ballot question can get on the ballot. But if it does get on the ballot.
So should we take bets on the odds of whether or not it's going to go through?
That would be gambling.
Just saying.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But for those reasons, I'm kind of leaning towards Don Berwick. But at the same time, I haven't found out enough for myself about Juliet Kayyem. So I'm kind of torn between those 2.
Well, maybe we can get him to come to Drinking Liberally.
That would be great, wouldn't it? Yeah, we'll have to send out the invite. Yeah.
I don't know. It'd be good to find out a little bit more about what their background is, their policies.
Sure.
They talk one way. when they're running,
Right,
who knows how they voted, or
It happens all the time. In my case, I was really enamored of Deval Patrick. I thought he was great. I thought he was a fantastic candidate. I thought he was a great governor. And then he signed the casino legislation, which really kind of disappointed me.
But
and,
it disappoints you on one. I think in fairness to any candidate, any elected official, I feel I don't want to define any particular elected official by one issue that they vote on that I like. I think it's unfair, and I feel as though, if I could just speak,
Sure.
There's been a number of things Deval's done that I've not been happy with. However, I think overall I'd like to feel that he's tried to make a good effort for Massachusetts, and I don't think he's been unkind to the workers and the people of Massachusetts in general. So, I mean, fair and balanced. Even our state rep, who I really like a lot, John Fernandez, there are times I've called him and, asked him to support a particular issue, and he doesn't. He'll call me back and explain why. I can respect that. So I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater by saying, this person's disappointed me because they didn't do this when I asked them.
Right. Well, I'm not going so far as to say that I'm disappointed in him for and I'll think less of him as a governor because of that. What I am saying though is I think he tarnished his legacy with it, and he could have gone out without casinos. Massachusetts, to my mind, really should be leading the country and showing the way forward. Casinos are the ultimate in regressive taxation. They take billions of dollars out of the economy and return millions of dollars to the state. I think it's just the wrong way to go. I think that we could have demonstrated.
And that's your opinion. I think there are a lot of people that differ on that too. So in terms of his legacy, there may be some that feel that it was very progressive and open to consider that. So, depending on your perspective, I suppose.
So let's see. On the lieutenant governor side, I know Mike Lake is running. Who else is running on lieutenant governor?
Well, Karen
Polito. Yeah, she's on
She's running on a ticket now. They're trying to do the
exactly.
approach
even though they really don't have a ticket per se, that's what the Republican side is trying to do. Interesting to see the machinations that they've gone through over marriage equality.
Oh yeah.
Because she had to kind of dial back her rhetoric about marriage equality in order to actually have the slot with Charlie Baker.
Isn't that sad that you have to kind of reinvent yourself to that extreme if you're running for public office? And I don't agree with her at all on that. I think, there should be marriage equality, and I don't agree with any of her policies, actually. But in terms of having to change your position to fit a certain mold to get in, just smells of artificial campaigning. I mean, because you got to wonder, so you'll say this to get elected, and then you get elected, what happens then?
Right, what's your position going to be at that point?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just...
Yeah. And not only that, but they made trouble for themselves on the right. Because now there's people on the right who are saying, well, with her dialing back her opposition to marriage equality, well, now we're not going to work so hard to get them elected. And so, they're kind of between a rock and a hard place.
Or would that be
being the Tea Party?
The right.
But being the Tea Party folks and they're that's where their activist base is. So
how prevalent is Tea Party? They're loud. They rattle the cage a lot. They make a lot of noise. How many are there? I mean, seriously.
I think it's fairly small. It really only makes up about 20% of the Republican Party.
And I'm wondering, even people who identify as a Tea Party supporter, how conservative are they? Do they just espouse maybe some of the more libertarian kind of leanings? Do you know? Or
well, that's just it. See, I don't see them as libertarian because a libertarian would live and let live.
Right.
A libertarian would
stay
say marriage equality is fine. Why? It's no skin off my nose what somebody else does.
But some of those libertarians kind of affiliate with the Tea Party. So you know what it is? I guess maybe at the end of the day, I'm having a hard time understanding what the Tea Party's about at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Who are they, and what do they want? Aside from nothing, from anyone, go away.
So.
But I'm just struggling to understand their philosophy, their ideology.
Right. So let's see. On the Attorney General side, we have Warren Tolman, who's in the race. Hank Naughton is also in the race.
He's a state rep from Clinton.
Yep.
I like Hank.
Warren Tolman had an interesting article on BlueMassGroup.com the other day. If anybody wants to get their finger on the pulse of democratic politics in the state of Massachusetts, in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, that is, you should definitely visit bluemassgroup.com. Great website, and a lot of candidates.
information.
A lot of candidates post entries
Stuff
out
up
there.
there.
We've had Steve Grossman on there. Martha Coakley comes out there. Don Berwick has been out there. I haven't seen Joe Avalone. Juliet Kayyem has a post on there on the front page today. So yeah, a lot of candidates go out there. Warren Tolman came out and actually put forward a policy that he wants to enact as Attorney General. He wants to see gun manufacturers add fingerprint trigger locks to all weapons that are sold in the state of Massachusetts.
So is that technology that's current?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
It's technology that's currently available. And what the gun owner does is he identifies his fingerprint to the weapon. Plus, he'll identify the fingerprints of any authorized users in the home.
Okay.
And it sounds like it's wonderful technology, and it would prevent, say, a child from picking up a weapon and firing it, which, you know, that would be, to my mind, I think that would be something that would be laudable and worth doing. At the same time, though, you got to look at it from a standpoint of expense. It's going to add a large expense for the gun manufacturers. That's going to add cost to guns, and people are going to say this is a restriction.
So maybe we wouldn't be able to afford to buy guns?
But then then they're saying, well, you're infringing on my right to bear arms, et cetera,
No, we're
et cetera.
not. It's just making it expensive. You could still buy it.
Well, Chris Rock had a really great episode, or a really great bit about never mind gun control. Let's just raise the price of bullets.
That's right.
Yes. He said if bullets cost $5,000 a piece, you would think twice before you shoot one.
That's right.
And it was really,
It's
really
perfect.
fun. I'm going to shoot you just as soon as I can get a loan.
As soon as I get enough money to buy a bullet.
Yeah. So,
It's a good idea. It's certainly, why not push it, see where it goes, but it would add, and I'm thinking even police departments, you were saying, I think we were talking earlier, you were saying about a lot of police are killed with their own weapons.
Sure, and that was one of his points was,
right.
He cited a statistic of 17% of all police officers killed in the line of duty are killed with their own
That's
weapon.
a high percentage.
That's almost 1 in 5.
Wow.
And that's,
I don't do math well, but I'll buy that, what you said.
Or 1 in 6, I suppose, but still. It is distressing to see a police officer killed in the line of duty, especially if he's killed by his own weapon. That's just tragic.
Yeah.
So if this could prevent that, then perhaps
it'd be worth
it's
an
worth
investment,
doing.
right?
To my mind, though, rather than going down that road, I like the idea. I like the fact that he's putting forward a real solution there. But at the same time, I think some other common sense ideas would make even more sense. Universal background checks. Whenever a weapon is transferred ownership, there should be a background check of the new owner. That should be required. All weapon sales should.
So currently, when people, if I were to have a weapon and I want to sell it,
right.
I can sell it to anybody I want?
As a private sale, yes.
And so I wouldn't need to do a background check on anybody?
Nope. So to my mind, we should require background checks, and all weapon sales should happen through a licensed firearms dealer. And that licensed firearms dealer would take a percentage of the sale. Maybe it does raise the price a little bit so that the firearms dealer can make a few dollars for his involvement in the transaction, but there should be background checks. There's no background checks at gun shows. Gun shows, you can just go and buy a weapon.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean, that doesn't seem to make sense. How come you have to have a background check in a regular
at a firearms
retail
dealer, right.
and not at a gun show?
I don't understand that one at all.
That's confusing.
I really don't. There was a video done a while back where some guys went to a gun show, and on purpose they walked up and said, do I have to get a background check to buy this weapon? And the dealer would say, no background checks, you're at a gun show. And he would say, oh, that's great, because I don't think I could pass a background check. Universally, the dealers would say, oh, don't tell me that.
Oh.
But they were ready to sell that weapon.
Okay.
And that's
I mean, they're a business.
Yeah, but that's sad.
Why we have to have oversights, because it keeps people honest and
right.
Right.
Another thing that I'd like to see is some legislation around responsible gun ownership. And some stiff penalties for irresponsible gun ownership.
So what would that look like?
I would say liability policies. If you're going to own guns, you should have to have an insurance policy on it. And if something bad happens with that weapon, then you're liable, and your insurance policy would have to kick in and
Does your
and pay out
homeowners
claims.
expect you to disclose if you have a weapon in the house right
I
now?
don't think so. I don't think so. I'm not sure about that. But certainly, we need more responsible gun owners. I don't know if you ever go out to the liberal blog dailycoast.com,
Yeah, I have on occasion. It's been,
they have a weekly feature on there called Gun Fail, and it talks about irresponsible gun owners nationwide. And
so certain anecdotal stories around what's happened?
Exactly. Stuff from the news. It's not so much anecdotal as it's just, these are episodes that happened on the news where somebody either shot himself or shot somebody else
But that would be
accidentally.
anecdotal. It's not a statistical or a study,
I suppose,
as opposed to, So I suppose then the recent shootings that have come up.
Well, those wouldn't so much be listed as gun fail. Gun fail really just talks about accidental shootings.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but there have been, here we have the anniversary, the 1-year anniversary of the Newtown shootings at Sandy Hook Elementary School. Certainly, Nancy Lanza was an irresponsible gun owner. She did not have trigger locks on her weapon, and she had a mentally unstable person in the house. That's irresponsible.
Yep.
She should have had those weapons locked up in a safe. They should have had trigger locks, and she should have had the keys on her person or well hidden. And it's really a sad commentary that none of that took place. She's dead as a result, and so many children are dead as well as Adam Lanza is dead. And when you have a mentally unstable person in the house, you should take care to make sure that they can't get at the weapons.
But there have been some, since the anniversaries, a couple of other instances throughout the U.S. of shootings. So, but we're not quite ready to talk gun reform.
I guess.
We, huh?
Well, gun restrictions have actually eased since Newtown, which is a real shame. Some jurisdictions have enacted tougher gun legislation. Others have eased their legislation.
So what is our federal oversight relative to guns?
There's really very little.
Very little,
Very
because
little.
nobody
They
can get
leave
on.
it to the states. That's why we have situations like this. Massachusetts has a very tough gun legislation. New Hampshire doesn't. So people buy guns in New Hampshire and bring them over the border. Same thing happens in Chicago. Illinois has very, very tough gun legislation, but the flood of guns on the streets of Chicago, they come in from out of state.
Well, that's what this piecemeal kind of regulation, and that's why the feds need to do something strong.
You would think that they would, but with the Second Amendment, it's tough, and especially the way that the Supreme Court has interpreted the Second Amendment recently. That's making it very tough for the federal government to do anything at all.
And what does the Second Amendment say? The right to bear arms, right?
It says a well-regulated militia being essential to the free people, the right of the people to bear arms shall not be infringed.
So that's broad.
It
I
is.
mean, that's very broad.
And I think
so
a well-regulated militia
Isn't that our
says
Army?
to me that we should have regulations. It would be our Army, yeah.
So we have armed forces.
But we also have to consider the times in which that was written.
Well, yeah, no kidding.
In the times in which that was written, a heavy overcoat was a bulletproof vest.
That's right.
Because guns were not nearly as powerful as they are today.
Yeah, but the right to bear arms too. Nobody's saying that that's not going to. They won't have that right. It's just about being responsible, and that's why these people, take away my right for a gun. Get your gun, but just whatever.
Yeah, it's a vexing issue. It's going to, the NRA is a powerful lobby, and it's going to be a long time.
Tell me about it. Deep pockets.
Well, we see things like the president of the NRA wants to go on TV to talk to America about guns, and all the networks drop everything and they rush to cover him. Well, he has 4 million members. The president of the AARP, he has 36 million members. If he wanted to address the country, they're not going to rush and talk to him. So it's kind of, outsized influence, much like what you're saying about the Tea Party. It's kind of like they have an outsized influence and a large megaphone.
Well, they have a lot of money.
Yeah, and a lot of money.
And they write the laws.
Yeah, they do.
At the end of the day.
Yep.
And that leads back to, and I don't mean to be tangent about this, but it leads back to the money in politics.
Yeah.
Because the politicians need money to run. They run every other week.
So it seems.
And they have to spend money on campaigning. So they rely on contributions. And I'm sure everything's public. You could look at anybody's list and see who contributes to the campaign, and then see how they vote on gun laws.
Yeah.
And you got to follow the money.
Right. Well, you look at a typical person in office. they spend so much of their time just on fundraising.
Yeah.
Fundraising alone takes up 30 to 40% of their time. It's crazy.
So they're not working all that time, but they're raising money to stay in office,
right.
to do nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm clear on that.
They certainly are doing very
So they
little.
could vote no on everything and not change anything.
Right, status quo stays
All
the
right.
same. Yep,
Well, that's comforting.
yeah. So speaking of politicians getting into office, Scott Brown. Scott Brown apparently has decided to move his show to New Hampshire.
I'm shocked.
Me too, me too. He sold his house in Rentham this week, and he's off to New Hampshire. From what I understand, the truck is still registered in Massachusetts. So
So we still have a piece of Scotty.
we still have a piece of Scotty. Scott's off to New Hampshire.
Okay. Running for Senate, President, we're not sure?
Apparently Senate.
Okay.
It's what it looks like. He may challenge Jean Shaheen for her seat.
Okay.
The New Hampshire Republican Party has him coming to their Christmas party this week as on a fundraiser. They're doing a fundraiser with Scott Brown as the headliner. And the hardcore right wing in New Hampshire is dead set against him. There's an article on bluemassgroup.com all about this with some links that are absolutely priceless if you click through the links in that article to see
really?
what the hardcore
I'll
right
have to
wing in
take
New
a look
Hampshire.
at that.
Oh, they are.
So they don't like him.
They don't like him at all. They call him an anti-gun liberal.
Really? Scott
Yes,
Brown?
Scott Brown is an anti-gun liberal, and he should not come to New Hampshire. They are protesting at the Christmas party. They're going to be protesting outside the Christmas party this week. And one of them even went so far as to say, "We'll come unarmed this time."
That's concerning to have somebody say that, though. I mean,
It is.
I don't really care for Scott Brown, but I don't think that's right to say that. That's,
But
that's the mentality here.
That is the mentality that they're dealing with in the hardcore right wing in New Hampshire. There are those who say that this is actually playing into Scott Brown's hands because it will make him appear more moderate.
And then he'll get against Jean Shaheen.
Right. It'll appeal
Yeah.
to moderate independent voters as well as moderate Republicans.
Unless they're more informed on his voting record and who he was when he was in Massachusetts.
Right. That's another thing
Hopefully-
that the hardcore right is complaining about, that he's a Bloomberg-supported Massachusetts liberal.
That's not how he voted, though, when he was a senator.
Well, he did.
There were one or two votes
Yeah,
that I actually thanked him.
the Dodd-Frank legislation, he watered down a lot of the enforcement enforcement actions that were available in that bill. He watered those down, and so that kind of took the teeth out of the bill more or less, and that's how it got passed. But what good is a bill that has no teeth?
Right.
So he did vote that way on that legislation. He also he cast some votes that really upset his base. I remember his Facebook page exploding a number of times when he was making various votes. Don't ask, don't tell. For instance, he cast a deciding vote to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Wouldn't that have passed, though, without him?
You know what I don't understand about that whole thing with Don't Ask, Don't Tell? It could have just been done by executive order. Truman integrated the Army by executive order in 1948. And that had to be a considerably larger impact than what you see from something like Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I saw an interesting political cartoon the other day. There's two soldiers, both with their weapons drawn and holding them this way, and they're walking down the street, and one of them says to the other, so, are you gay? And the other one says, I'm a U.S. soldier and I have your back. And the other one says, okay, enough said.
Perfect.
Yeah, and that's
Right.
really the long and short of it.
right.
These people are soldiers,
Right.
and they are out there
It doesn't matter.
volunteering to protect our
Yep.
country and to serve. Whether they're gay, straight,
It's
or anything in
irrelevant.
between is absolutely irrelevant. Pass the ammunition and let's get this done. That's that's really the important stuff there.
So Scott Brown voted for that, to repeal that. I guess my question has always been, my sense has been that when he voted for something more progressive, more liberal, many times it seemed as though it was a vote that even if he voted the other way, it still would have passed. So it was like I could be wrong, but I know a number of them, his say, okay, see, I am kind of moderate, you know?
Right. It was more of a CYA
Yep.
type of thing.
Yep.
Cover your.
That's how I feel. I mean, like I said, I don't have
Yeah,
all
you
the
don't have the
information.
stats. It'd be interesting
Right.
to examine his voting record
Right,
from that
exactly.
perspective to see what
He was
that's.
straddling both worlds.
Yeah.
You know, kind of going in as the kind of everyday guy, right, with the
Yeah.
barn jacket and.
Right. And the truck. You know, I have a truck.
Oh, you do? That's
Yeah.
right, you do.
Yeah, I should run for
I used to
Senate.
have a truck.
You used to have a truck?
Yeah.
Well,
I
you
don't
probably
have a
qualify
barn
as
jacket
well.
though.
You
My
don't have a
husband
barn
has a
coat?
barn. No, my husband has a barn jacket.
Okay.
Be a little big for me though.
Try it on.
Yeah. You want me to run for office?
It may fit.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah, right. So, well, you know, I feel Scott has got a lot of chutzpah to carpetbag over into New Hampshire
Yep.
and make a bid. And apparently he's got his eye on some prize. And
It was really funny. There's a Democratic super PAC that criticized him for carpetbagging into New Hampshire.
okay.
And his response to that was, well, of course, I'm from Massachusetts.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's
Oh,
like,
okay.
You
Thought I
know,
missed
you're
the
being
rest.
criticized for carpetbagging, and your defense is, yeah, I'm
Maybe he didn't
carpetbagging.
understand the comment.
Could be.
Okay.
Scott also has a remarkably thin skin. I don't know if you've ever seen some of the stuff that he's done. The King Philip Academy, when he went there to lambaste the sophomore class. Apparently they were mean to his daughter or something. And he came and addressed the entire sophomore class, and he dropped a few F-bombs.
Because they were mean to his
Because they
daughter.
were mean. Yeah, I don't know the exact circumstances.
Was he going to take
I don't
them all
remember
out in the
exact
parking lot and then beat them up? Was this?
Apparently, yeah. So yeah, and after he, I'm not sure if it was after he beat Martha Coakley. I think it was after he beat Martha Coakley in the special election. He went on Jim Braude and Marjorie Egan's show, and you would think in a situation like that, having been victorious, that he would go on and be gracious and
A little magnanimous.
a little magnanimous, exactly. He lambasted them for what he perceived as slights.
Oh,
during
his,
the campaign.
his feelings were hurt?
I guess. Yeah, his
No,
delicate feelings
poor
were
guy.
hurt. Yeah, so Scott, I wish Scott
So
a
why
lot of
is
luck.
he in politics if he can't handle
I don't know.
criticism?
I don't know. I've taken my share of criticism, and I kind of let it roll off like water off a
But,
duck's
you know,
back.
people
right?
have a right to their opinion, and they're not always going to agree with you.
Right. That's
He
just,
was mean to Martha Coakley during
Sure.
some of the debates,
Sure.
and he was mean to Elizabeth Warren.
Oh yeah, look at what as you can see clearly, she's not. I mean, that's how he
Really? I
opened
mean,
his debate, that first debate against
I
her.
think that was a little bit small
Yeah.
for him to do that. I
Yeah.
mean, stick with the issue, have a disagreement on the issue, but he was personalizing stuff. I didn't like that.
And then there was an issue, an event that happened. There was a debate, and there was supporters of Warren and supporters of Brown were out front of the debate holding signs. And the supporters of Brown decided that it would be great fun to pretend to be Indians
Oh,
and
I
do
see.
the
Yeah, I
war
remember
whoops
that,
and
yeah.
all that kind of stuff. Juvenile behavior, which
Well, you can't hold Scott Brown for that. I mean, those were his
No,
supporters.
I don't hold him personally responsible for
Right.
that. But when you look at the videotape of that event, there were actual campaign people
Really?
doing that. Yeah, and that's
Hopefully he had a conversation with them about that. I would hope.
I would hope, yeah. But then there's also Eric Fernstrom, who is his chief of staff, right?
Right.
Eric was outed as, Alan Casey was running. This was before Elizabeth Warren got in the race. Eric Fernstrom actually was running a Twitter account, a fake Twitter account called Crazy Casey. And he outed himself by tweeting something that should have come from Crazy Casey on his own personal Twitter account.
So we got messed up a little.
He messed up a little bit because he was logged in as a different
That's
user.
nasty.
And yeah, and
Underhanded.
there was no call for
That's
that.
sabotage. That's
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, and I mean, look at
that's
your
too bad.
position here. He was an advisor to Mitt Romney.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, come on, you're on the national scene. What are you doing that
Well,
stuff
that
for?
certainly gives us a glimpse into their character
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
or lack thereof.
So let's see, what else do we have coming up this year? We've got treasurer. The treasurer's race is also shaping up. Barry Feingold, State Senator Barry Feingold
Right.
is running. Is there somebody else running for treasurer?
I haven't heard a whole lot about who's running for that, but I'm sure after all the papers are put in and stuff, and we should probably be hearing more right after the holidays, right
Yeah.
after the first of the year,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
when the
2000.
caucuses come up.
2014 coming up here in Milford. We have the selectmen's race, of course, in the spring. Bill Buckley will be up for re-election
Okay.
this spring. I'm certainly proud of Bill. From my perspective, with the casino, Bill supported us as far as being against the casino is concerned. So I'm supporting Bill this spring, and we'll
Is
we'll
there
see where
one
that
seat
ends
up or two for the?
Just one.
Just one.
Yeah, there's every
Anybody
3 years.
running against him?
Not so far. People can't pull papers yet. I believe you can pull nomination papers in January,
Okay.
and then they're due back to the town clerk's office in February in order to be on the ballot for the April election. It'll probably be the first Monday or first Tuesday in April.
Okay.
Will be our. That's when it normally is.
Right.
I know because I'm born on April 2nd, so very often election day falls on my birthday.
And they celebrate it just for you.
Exactly.
I know.
Exactly. It's because I'm involved in politics.
true.
That's what happens there. So.
And my birthday's in September, and the primaries are usually around.
Oh well, there you go then.
Well, not really, but we'll work
Close
it.
enough.
Close enough. Because I want it to be all about me.
So let's see, September. Then you'd be a sapphire.
Yes.
For your birthstone.
I like your birthstone better.
Diamond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay, I can lie.
My mother liked my birthstone
Yes,
as well
I.
because
Because
she got
she
the,
wanted a mother's ring.
she got the mother's ring. Yes, she got the diamond on the mother's ring. So. So this has been a fun conversation tonight.
Yeah.
Why don't we end? We have about 6 or 7 minutes left. Why don't we end with a little bit more talk about drinking liberally?
Oh,
our
my
favorite
favorite
organization.
subject. Yes. Well, I'm excited for the coming year. I feel as though I've been so spread out that I haven't spent as much time on the website and doing things. I mean, one of the things we were talking about trying to develop was trying to get on local cable for drinking liberally and trying to kind of broaden our audience a little bit.
Okay.
So I'm good about the big ideas, the details and how to work them. I'm not so good at. So I'm hoping by the first of the year to be able to think a little more about that and kind of pull in people that are talented and creative, and then maybe we can get something going with that.
Okay.
Want
Well,
to
you
pull in
can
candidates.
certainly do the course right here at Milford TV, and you and I have talked about kicking around some ideas about how we would put a show together, what
it'd be
kind of
fun.
topics we would cover, and I can certainly help get you off the ground to get.
I
that,
need a lot
to
of
get
help.
that running. You do need a little bit of a push now and then, right?
And
Yeah.
then hopefully getting more candidates in too. I want to do a little
Yes.
more outreach.
Well, 2014 is going to be a very busy
it'll
year. A
be
lot of candidates
exciting
running for a
and
lot of offices.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So and then be able to kind of, and that would hopefully get people to come to DL and get them interested in what we're all about.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
and then maybe doing more screening liberalies.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
We've had 2 meetings of screening liberally, right? So
Yeah.
on our first meeting, we did we watched Idiocracy, which is a fantastic movie. If anybody hasn't seen Idiocracy, they really should.
Yeah, it's scarily.
Scarily prescient.
Yeah, it is, really.
Luke Wilson, Maya Rudolph, and Dax Shepard in a comedic tour de force.
The dumbing down of America.
Yeah, the dumbing down of America.
That's finally been accomplished, right?
It's 500 years in the future, and the dumbing down of America is utterly complete. Luke Wilson and Maya Rudolph play 2 ordinary people from our time who find themselves 500 years in the future, and they are the smartest people on the planet. And it's just a tremendous, tremendous movie. Some of the stuff that's in there is downright scary.
Yeah.
One of the people in that movie talks about problems with the economy, but they don't pronounce the word economy correctly. They pronounce it economy. Now, you remember Godfather Pizza, the guy that was running for
Yes.
president.
Cain. What
Cain,
was?
yes, Herman Cain.
Yes.
Herman Cain, after he dropped out of the Republican run for the presidency last time around, he put out some television ads called SOS, and he called it Sick of Stimulus. That's what SOS stood
Okay.
for. And he had a little girl on these ads, and some of the things that she would do was, like for instance, she had a goldfish bowl, and she dumped the goldfish bowl over, and here's a goldfish flopping around on the ground, and she would say, "This is the economy."
Oh boy.
And then she would splash some water on the goldfish and say, "This is the economy." on stimulus. And any questions? And that's, I'm not sure what the ad was intended to evoke.
Herman Cain may not have known what that was supposed to be either.
But still, just the fact that she
using
pronounced that word
right.
the same way as it was pronounced in Idiocracy. It was really kind of scary. You look at Idiocracy being 500 years in the future. Well, the movie was just produced, what, a dozen years ago. And here we have people on the national stage using that word the same exact way. And that was really scary to me to see that happening. Our second screening liberally, we did Pleasantville. We had another movie there too, didn't we? We had about healthcare. Wasn't there one about healthcare?
I can't remember.
Drawing a blank on that.
I am.
Yeah, but the Pleasantville was great fun. Again, it's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, get out and see it, or get it on DVD.
They get sucked into the TV. They're in the present time, and Tobey Maguire and Reese Witherspoon get sucked into like a 1950s sitcom or TV show, and because
they upset the apple cart
they
on all of those
they disrupt their world and rock their world and change it and open it up and.
And suddenly some of them start colorizing.
Yeah, because they started having emotion and reaction. And
right.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
But talk about, not wanting and keeping things stagnant and that those
status
roles
quo.
And everything's pleasant here.
Yeah. One of the most poignant moments was when William H. Macy played the father in the sitcom. He comes home from work and his wife isn't there.
Honey, I'm home.
I'm home. Honey,
I'm home.
I'm home.
Where's my dinner?
Where's my dinner?
He takes his hat off, puts it on again, and he's like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
He's looking in the oven.
Yeah, it was such a poignant movie. It was really, really well done. And so I think we've made some good choices.
Oh, really?
One of the I'm still dead set on doing this one for a screening liberally at some point. I want to get there's a special put out by PBS. It's available for download. It's 90 minutes, and it's called Slavery by Another Name. And it talks about Jim Crow and what life was like for
prior to civil rights.
Prior to the Civil Rights Act, right? From the period of the end of the Civil War to the enactment of the Civil Rights Act. It talks about what life was like for Black people, especially down south, and how horrid it really was. I want to use that as our introduction to kind of a conversation on race relations. And then for a lighter fare, we'll watch Blazing Saddles, which I think would just be an awesome night.
You love that movie.
I do.
He's trying to push that. Let's see. What about even that Walmart movie, The High Cost of Low Prices?
Yes, The High Cost of Low Prices. I feel the same way. I put up on my Facebook page the other day a graphic about the people at the fast food restaurants and how they're on strike.
Right.
And that they need actually a living wage. You look at something like Walmart, you look at something like the fast food workers, those people are encouraged to get food stamps. They're encouraged to go on Medicaid.
Right.
They're
live
encouraged
off the tax
to use
dollars, right? They're not putting back in the economy.
Why should our tax dollars subsidize the CEO profits at a place like Walmart or at a place like McDonald's or Burger King? Why should our tax dollars subsidize their corporate profits? They shouldn't, exactly. Walmart, last year, the four heirs to the Walmart fortune last year made $17.5 billion.
Poor things.
Had they paid their workers a fair wage and provided medical benefits to them, they would have made $12.5 billion in profit. That's just unconscionable
Sinful,
to me.
but, and on that happy note.
On that happy note, I think we have to end.
I think we do.
You've been watching All Politics is Local, a production of the Greater Blackstone Valley Democrats. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. For more information about the Greater Blackstone Valley Dems, go out to our website, www.gbvdems.org. Thanks for tuning in. Good night.